From the beauty of the aurora borealis to the mystery of 700-million-year-old fossils, there is something for everyone to enjoy and learn about. But as a group of teenagers would soon find out, some lessons leave permanent scars. In 2011, 7 students from Staples High School in Connecticut were attending an outdoor education camp called the National Outdoor Leadership School, or NOLS for short. By this time, it was a well-established program
That is true, Decon.
that had been teaching students to develop their leadership and environmental awareness for the last 50 years. The boys were all of similar ages. Samuel Boas, Shane Garlock, and Noah Allaire were 16. Joshua Berg, Samuel Gottsiegen, and Simeon Melman were 17. And the last
Yeah, well, I'll try to stay awake.
boy, Victor Martin,
I don't really plan on staying, streaming too much longer.
was 18
Probably for another hour.
years old. They were taking part in an extensive 30-day wilderness training expedition and had had the best 3 weeks of their lives so far. Together, they had learned and honed their survival skills over the last few weeks, and they were now putting these skills to use as they embarked on a solo trip into the Alaskan wilderness. They confidently trekked into the bushes.
I am so sorry, Decon. Decon. Oh. God. Fuck, that. I am so sorry, bro.
Walking mostly in a single-file line as there was no actual path for the majority of the way, and they had to follow each other to ensure that no one would get lost. They were prepared for any
Oh, fuck my ass.
situation, having been trained for first aid and extreme wilderness survival
That scares the shit out of me.
having been trained for first aid and
Because I thought it was someone standing right there.
extreme wilderness survival. The final task that they have been set was a solo mission to reach a specific viewpoint without the help of any adults and using only the skills they had learned in the last 3 weeks. They were excited to prove to everyone they had what it took to survive and headed off into the woods. That evening, they decided to cross a creek as Berg and Gottsiegen led the group to their goal. The bushes were becoming very thick and difficult to push through without facing injury, in addition to the risk of them becoming separated. As they stepped towards the creek, the older boys noticed some rustling on the other side and decided to wait it out to see what it was, as their training had taught them not to take any unnecessary risks. They felt their hearts stop as they saw what emerged from the bushes: a large brown bear and her cub. This was the worst-case scenario for any wilderness expedition, as the mother bear would...
Holy fuck. That's sick. What that... Oh my god. I am so sorry for your friends, bro. But that's fucking sick what that woman did. A fucking cunt.
be much more aggressive in order to defend her cub, killing anyone on sight.
Fucking god.
Unfortunately for them,
Jesus.
they were immediately noticed. The mother charged at them, sprinting
Oh my god, look at that thing foaming at the mouth.
across the creek before the boys had a chance to react.
Oh, fuck me.
Although even if they could react, they were unarmed. She reached Gottsiegen first as he was heading the group and immediately knocked him to the ground.
God.
He tried to kick her away, but it was no use. Her size and ferocity outmatched him. She clamped her jaws.
Dude, that bear breath. Oh! Oh my god, bear breath. Especially if it, oh my god, especially if it's been eating meat. Oh my god, that bear breath would be horrible.
Onto his head and tried to crush his skull with her teeth. With blood running into his eyes and the force he felt being exerted onto his skull, he thought for sure that this is where he would die, in the mouth of a beast. Suddenly, she released his head. He thought she might run away, but he had no such luck. Instead, she latched onto his arms, biting and clawing at each one in turn, inflicting as much damage as possible. He screamed in pain as his muscles and skin were ripped from his body. Then, in hopes of finally killing the boy, she dragged her claws across his chest and punctured his lungs as he screamed out in agony. He could feel his ribs breaking under her weight and was blinded by the pain he felt. Next, she turned to the other leader, Joshua Berg. She swatted at him with her giant paws, the sharp claws ripping into his skin with each swipe. Her attack was short-lived, however, as she quickly turned her attention back to Gotsagen, who was screaming for the other boys to set off.
I know I'm not a vet, but I'm here for you. Pecan. I know I'm oh fuck. God, bro, I'm so sorry, but yeah, I'm here for you, brother. Oh fuck,
The
bro.
emergency beacon to call for help. While Noah Allaire attempted to pull the alarm, the
There you
bear
go.
attacked him. She swatted him back and forth in her paws like a rag doll, blood flying from his body as her claws punctured his skin. Once again, she discarded the boy to move to another to attack, leaving Noah gasping for breath as he felt his lungs slowly deflate. She spotted Victor a little further away, who had been watching the carnage take place, his feet rooted in the ground in fear, unable to do anything but watch. She charged at him next, and his
So you can smell my bear breath. Oh my god. I'd rather not.
life flashed before his eyes. She grabbed his leg in her jaw and bit down hard, almost severing his entire limb. He screamed out in pain.
Well, that's a normal feeling when you drive to St. Louis. Is your anxiety does the skyrockets.
And surprised
It's just a natural that's just a natural feeling, my friend. coming from someone that lives there. It's just a natural instinct.
Surprisingly, she immediately let go, rushing out into the forest and finally out of sight. The boys watched as she and her
Hey, good God, make sure you're strapped and packing some heat.
cub disappeared into the leaves and prayed she would not come back. They were already lucky enough to be alive, as they knew that she would definitely finish the job.
Kingpin, we're planning on doing one next week. With I'm gonna be on his stream along with one of those weirdos. We'll be on his stream next Thursday, I believe, if I'm right. So yeah, just our boy.
If she returned. Luckily for them, she had left the scene and would not return again. The entire ordeal had taken less than 5 minutes, but had left half the group fighting for
No, you didn't bring anyone down, my friend. Decon.
their lives.
No, you're good, brother. You're 100% good.
The uninjured boys ran to the aid of their friends as the rain quickly began to pour and beat down on them, washing their blood into the creek. They activated their personal locator beacons to call out to anyone in the area to help them and attempted to set up camp around the dying boys to protect them from the rain. At 9:30 p.m., the Rescue Coordination Center called troopers to report the signal, and they were soon sent to rescue the teenagers at 3 a.m. While they were waiting, the boys tried to keep their friends conscious. Samuel Boas had graduated from the Westport Emergency Medical Services EMT program just a month previous and had already completed 100 hours of emergency medical training. He was able to use his skills under extreme pressure and with limited resources, saving their lives. They used plastic bags to
Wow.
close the wounds as best they could and bandaged it with gauze. They were all exhausted and traumatized and just trying to survive until help could arrive. Working together with the other boys, he was able to keep them alive until 3 a.m. when the emergency services were finally able to find their tank
Wow, that's freaking amazing.
and fly them to safety. After assessing their damages, the team decided to separate them depending on their injuries, and as Joshua Berg and Samuel Gottsagen were without a doubt the worst injured of the group, they were immediately flown to Providence, Alaska Medical Center in Anchorage and admitted into intensive care where doctors attempted to save their lives. The other boys were flown to Matsu Medical Center to treat their minor injuries and were released to their families soon after. A secondary crew was sent back to the area to retrieve the remaining teenagers from the area, even though they were not even aware of the attack or that there was a mother bear
Oh, keep fucking backing up, bro.
hunting in the
Stop filming! They keep fucking backing up.
area. They continued their search to find the bear, but they were ultimately unsuccessful, leaving the bear to roam and raise her cub as she had intended. Since the attack, the boys have come forward to explain their experience and warn others to be careful. There was ultimately nothing that they could have done to prevent the attack, and as it was all happening in a matter of minutes, quick thinking was not necessarily possible with such an intense
Shoot! Fucking goddamn it.
time limit. They state that they will forever
Like, legit. Like, these people filming are in the fucking death sentence. Like, I'm not kidding. Oh my god, this, like, reminds me. Every time I was up, like, the one time I was in Glacier National Park up in Montana, fucking, oh my god, you would see that shit all the time with people going up to the black bears and grizzly bears. You'll see, oh my god, it was just so infuriating. And like people got mad at me because I was yelling at them, like, "What are you doing?" Like I would be like, I would like tell the person like that, like I was just like, "Stop!" I would just yell, "Stop walking!" And they would look at me like I'm a fucking like insane person, and like I don't know. It was just like I was just like, "Fuck it." I was just like, "Fuck it, whatever." They just don't listen to you either. Well, not look at you. They just don't listen. They just acknowledge you. They just like. But then when you hear like I'm the only one yelling at the person, then everyone looks at you like you're fucking insane.
ever carry the physical and mental scars from that day and underwent intensive
Like, oh no, that bear's fine. It's like it's a friendly bear. It's like you don't fucking know that.
therapy to help them recover from their ordeal. The sounds of the
It can just snap within an instinct and just go like immediately. You know, then yeah, you're putting everyone else in danger. Then
broken bones and the screaming of their friends will never be unheard, but they are working towards their own recoveries. Luckily, Joshua Berg and Samuel Gottsagen were able to survive the attack without any permanent injury, but their recoveries were long and hard as they underwent multiple life-saving
negative, Tim Darling.
surgeries. NOL
If I couldn't conceal and carry here in St. Louis, I would not live here.
LS
Like being straight up, I would not live here if I was not carrying.
have also spoken about the event, praising the boys for the survival skills, and have stated that even if an adult leader was present, the outcome would likely have remained the same, meaning that
I wouldn't live in I would still live in Missouri, but I would be where I eventually want to live, out in the country.
the boys ultimately did everything that they could in the moment. They remain positive about their experience and are thankful to have narrowly escaped their terrifying final affliction.
Yeah, no worries, Tim Darling. Yeah, no worries. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Do some more animal encounters. Or, uh, I could end it. How about end it on one of my most interesting, uh, let's see, he's a very interesting fellow, this guy. Just come on here. The Beth Cat. I'm gonna pause it on one of my most favorite, not favorite, as a most interesting, like I'm most interested in. Uh, is this guy, the Iceman? Oh yeah, concealed. Yeah, but here in Missouri you can open carry. So yeah.
I would move heaven, hell, and anything in between to get.
Yeah, this guy, Richard Kunklinski, the Iceman. He really fascinates me. He's an interesting fellow. Really. If you guys don't know about him, I forgot what Italian, like it was like a mob he was a hitman for, and also enforcer, like a hitman enforcer type guy role that he played. But he also like prayed, like I said, he was like how you would say, like he would be like the apex predator, like not in a Lauren standpoint. I'm talking about like he would kill people just for fun, or and also at random too. Like just to, like he used a shot off shotgun because he got a shot off shotgun, and so he just wanted to see what it would do to someone's head, and so he picked a random person and did it to him. Same with, like, he got a crossbow and wanted to see what a crossbow would do. He picked a random person for a crossbow, and then it's like mind blowing. And then he also ended up, why he got the name Iceman. He also ended up using cyanide later on, and like if people went to the bathroom or something, he would like go over to the table and like douse their drink, or put it in their food of cyanide, and then walk away. Or and then why he got the name Iceman was he would eventually uh freeze the person and then dump their body after he let the body thaw out properly after freezing the body. He would let it thaw out properly and then dump it, and like in random locations too. So yeah, it was fucking mind blowing. He's fucking a loony bin.
To you.
And then what's crazy was my theory is he died in prison, but the way he died was of heart failure, or like some type of heart condition. And I wanted to say um uh the roles were reversed, He ended up getting the mob ended up killing him.
You wouldn't be safe anywhere if I was mad at you. And that's not bull, Dip. That's truth.
Because I think someone doused whatever they gave him, like food or whatever. I think someone laced his food with cyanide because he died of like heart failure or like something heart related. I think if I remember correctly.
I've went up against people. You could pull a gun on me, and if I'm mad at you,
And he had a wife and 2 kids, and they had no idea what was going on.
I'm coming forward. You'd have to shoot me to stop me. And if you don't kill me, you're stupid. So next time you see me, I will kill you.
Okay. Tim Darling.
Mr. Kuklinski, we're going to conduct a bat search here. Put your arms out.
Yeah, he's also claimed to have taken out what's that guy's name? Jimmy Hoffa. Someone asked him like what happened to Hoffa. He said he's in a back of like a Toyota Camry, in the back of a trunk in a Toyota Camry or some type of foreign car that's now shipped overseas somewhere.
On May 25th,
He was also a big guy too. He was like sick. Kuklinski, he was like 6'4" or like 6'6". He was like 6'4", 6'6", and weighed 300 pounds or 330 pounds in that range.
1988, Richard Kuklinski was
He was a fucking
convicted of multiple murder
big mofo.
and sentenced to life imprisonment. This ended 30 years of cold-blooded killing by a master criminal police called the Iceman.
Richard Kuklinski is one of the most dangerous criminals we have ever come across in this state. He murdered by guns. He murdered by strangulation. He murdered by putting poison on victims' food. He did all of this at the same time while exhibiting a normal, placid family existence.
How many people have you killed?
Oh, an approximate guess. Approximate, we'll go with more than 100.
I think Lauren is 5'6". I think 5'6" is what I've heard. Is how tall Lauren is. 5'6" or 5'5", I think. But I'm going with 5'6".
How do you feel about killing?
I don't.
Jesus Christ.
It doesn't bother me.
Just the way he says that.
It doesn't bother me at all.
He's just. Whoa. This guy's disturbing.
I don't have a feeling one way or the other. I think if I had a choice, I wouldn't.
Richard, when you were on the streets, what kind of weapons did you use?
When I was out on the street to do something, I carried 3 guns and a knife. I had a Derringer in each pocket. And a gun on my ankle, a bigger gun just in case, and a knife. And it all depends how it came about.
You indicated yesterday that you used a shotgun to grab a stoplight or something like that, or...
I had a red light. We were following this fellow.
Yeah, here's the shotgun story I was just talking about.
pulled up at a red light, came alongside of him, and shot the shotgun, took his head off. He never saw the green light. As a matter of fact, when it happened, it surprised me. I expected the man to die, but it really surprised me when it took his head off. It was something I didn't expect. Most people paid their bills. Some didn't. I remember one guy, he was owed a lot of money. Well, I guess considerable amount of money. He thought he could hide behind a door. It was a nice door, expensive door. Anyway, most people don't realize.
Yeah, I can see that. Decon.
Is that when you come to answer a
Decon.
door, if there's light in the background, the person on the outside can look through the peephole and see the guy coming to the door. So he came to the door, I asked who it was, and he looked through the peephole. And he never saw what hit him. I've been in a restaurant
Jesus Christ.
where we were eating, and the guy went to the bathroom, and while he was in the bathroom, we put a little boost in his food, and he was rushed to the hospital after that, and he died, and they buried him. I'm not exactly sure what they attributed his death to, but you know, it wasn't homicide.
What was it like to cut somebody up with a you know, even though the guy was dead? How did it feel to cut some guy up with a
Oh, well.
Well, I didn't have any feeling one way or the other. That just happened. That's the way it had to be.
Messy.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Did it make you sick?
No. I've had requests where the guy wanted the guy's tongue cut out. And he also wanted his tongue put in his rear end. So I believe there was a definite point he wanted to get across.
Sorry, that was my sick sadistic side.
I have an experience that I don't know if I should tell you or not. That it probably would offend a lot of people.
Oh, you don't say. Like, Jesus.
I don't know. I don't think I should. I'll go into that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not a good one.
No, go ahead. Tell him.
There was a man, he was begging and pleading and praying, I guess. And he was pleased God and all over the place. So I told him he could have a half hour to pray to God. And if God could come down and change the circumstances, he'd have that time. But God never showed up. And he never changed the circumstances. And that was that. It wasn't too nice.
All right, my boy. All right, Mr. DeCon. Thanks for your stop by, my friend. It's always good to see you. We'll have to do like a paranormal or like a cryptid type stream someday. One of these days. I like shit like this.
That's one thing I shouldn't have done that one. I shouldn't have done it that way. It was a Jekyll and Hyde existence. The way it was and the way I wanted it to be were absolutely two different lives. I wanted one life. I had to have another life.
This other life would interrupt one Christmas Eve. While his family was celebrating the holidays, Kuklinski left his home to collect on a bad debt. Business was business, even on Christmas Eve.
The man owed me money. He was giving me a runaround. I told him I wasn't happy that he wasn't going to pay me. He had the attitude that nobody could hurt him. I think he was wrong. Anyway, he never saw Christmas.
Who did you use?
A gun. Extremely loud inside of a car. Matter of fact, my ears were ringing for a long time.
What'd you do afterwards?
I walked away, got in my car, and went home.
What'd you do when you got home?
I put toys together for the kids for Christmas. I saw the broadcast while I was putting the toys together that came down. Mob-related killing. That was the first time I knew I was mob-related.
How'd you feel?
I was annoyed I couldn't get the damn wagon together. What is it to dispose of something? You throw it away. You throw it anywhere. It all depends. If you don't want it found or if you want it found. If you want it found, it doesn't matter. You just leave it there. If you don't want it found, you could take it somewhere. You could bury it. You could put it in a big drum. You could put it in the trunk of a car and have it crushed. You leave it in town, you can put it on a park bench. I mean, you know, you can put it anywhere you want. They found a few people sitting on park benches, I'm sure. As a matter of fact, I know they have. I hated my father. If I could have, I'd probably would have killed him.
This is if you guys haven't noticed, this is a compilation of his interviews. So, yeah. They also made a movie about him called The Iceman. Who's all in it? Michael Shannon plays Richard Kuklinski. James Franco's in the movie. R.I.P. Ray Liotta. He's in the movie. Oh yeah, Chris Evans. Captain America. He plays another serial killer that links up with Kuklinski here. That's how he figures out about cyanide and freezing people. Um, forgot who else is in the movie. I can't think of who else is in the movie, but yeah, it's a good movie. I highly recommend it.
Probably would have felt good about it too. My father would beat me just if I looked at him.
Oh yeah, and
He
classic,
gave me this
majestic Falcor stream. I have to go pee. I'll be right back.
Personal feeling I have to when people die in front of me, especially loudmouth people. Loudmouth people remind me of my father. Once a loudmouth person starts with me, I love it. That's the only excuse I need.
One night in a bar, a loudmouth made the mistake of insulting the 18-year-old Kuklinski in front of people. A couple of hours later, the Iceman saw his chance to get even.
I come out of this bar and I see him sleeping in his car. I said, I got you, little sucker, now I got you. I'm gonna light your fire. And I did. I got myself a bottle, some gasoline, and I threw it in the car with him. And he was screaming and yelling and burning, and the car burned. And I could smell him. I walked down the block and I could hear him as I turned the corner. He was still yelling. This was a personal thing, yes. See, this was a guy I disliked.
What did he do to you?
He made me mad.
How were you with animals at that age?
Deadly.
Cats, dogs.
Cats, dogs. I used to tie two cats' tails together. I drove over a clothesline and watched them rip each other apart.
How long does it take?
Not long.
Did they both die?
I don't know. I never stood around to see the final thing. I would say eventually they both died because they were both pretty well tore up.
It's gotta be noisy.
It was quite noisy.
What else would you do with cats?
Well, we had the incinerator in the projects there. So I threw a cat in the incinerator. Then I threw a book
Oh, that's a good thing. I don't know my real mom.
of matches in there.
I'm sure the whole town did my mom.
And through the door, I watched the fire get bigger and bigger, and this cat was running around, trying to get away.
She was probably the whore of the town.
Eventually, the fire got too big for him, and
Hence why I'm probably the prom night dumpster baby.
he didn't run anymore.
You only did one cat.
No. That
Yeah.
was a pastime.
Did they all behave the same way?
Most, one almost got out the door. He almost jumped back up, came out the door, I threw him in. Because that's where I was looking, and he almost came back out.
Yeah.
Couldn't get to this person. He was in a disco. So I was really in a bad way because there was a time schedule involved. And I happened to be watching these people, and there was a couple of gay people dancing and whatever. And nobody was paying them no mind whatsoever. They were walking in.
Literally, if this guy needs money from you, you're fucking dead. It's regardless. He doesn't care about human life at all. Just look at those eyes. Those are literally the eyes of a great white. I no pun intended. But literally, like these are like in that scene in Jaws, they turn into those eyes. Yeah, that's what Kuklinski's eyes are. Are just black doll eyes. There is just nothing in it. Just a black fucking hole right there.
Anywhere.
That's the eyes of a predator. Not, again, not Lorne Predator. He is literally like the apex, like, I don't know. I'm saying it wrong. But he just sees people as prey to him in his eyes and in his mind. He just sees people as nothing like but this. Yeah. He just has no regard for human life.
Going anywhere because people basically don't look at gay people. But the idea came to
He's homophobic.
me, yeah, try to act gay, but how in the hell am I going to get by? 300
I'm not gonna lie, this story right here kind of actually makes me laugh when he just the way he says it a little bit. After this, it kind of loses it, but like my sense of humor kicks in.
and nobody was paying them no mind whatsoever. They were walking anywhere, going anywhere because people basically don't look at gay people. But the idea came to me, yeah, try to act gay, but how in the hell am I going to get by? A 300-pound gay man. I mean, you know, that's a little bit far-fetched.
Sorry.
So,
But especially at the time, I think this was like around the 70s or the 80s. I think it was like around the late 70s or mid 70s. But yeah, this the way he just describes it is just kind of funny.
I went to the extreme, man. I mean, you know, that's a little bit far-fetched. So,
What I'm trying to get at is it's like we're at his time frame to where we are now. It's just like for being gay, it's like it's so much different than what it is now.
I went to the extreme of far-fetched. I got this loudest costume you'd ever want to see on. I mean, I went full-blown gay person. Of course, maybe the other gay people are going to be pissed off at me, but I'm not saying anything bad about them. But I got this canary yellow sweater and these bright pants, and I got these elevated shoes, which I'm told to be good. Now I got these thing shoes on, and I acted like a full-blown gay person. I mean, and I got on.
This seeing a guy his height, I'm just trying to picture in my head like a guy of his height, like between six. I think he is 6'4" or something like that, to like 300 pounds, and he was like 300 to 330. But this picturing someone like that is kind of funny.
This thing, I'm doing this like dancing bit, and I get onto this thing, and they got these lights, and I hate those lights, by the way, those strobe lights. Man, I hate those lights. You can't see good with them lights, and it messes up my eyes. So anyway, I'm trying to get close to this guy. So
Yes,
I'm
he's
doing
doing
this
that
crazy
also.
thing. I'm acting real swishy, I guess.
I don't know why. Oh, I might be just really high right now, too. Yeah. That's
My eyes. So anyway, I'm trying to get close to this guy.
Trying to get close to this guy, and Lord would be like, I'm homophobic.
I'm doing this crazy thing. I'm acting real swishy. I guess that's what you would call it. And
What?
I get up close.
Swishy. What?
I guess that's what you would call it. Crazy thing. I'm acting real swishy. I
Real swishy. What?
guess that's what you would call it. And I get up close to this guy. And I bump into him. But everybody's bumping into everybody.
Yes. We got the ultimate showdown right there. We finally got it. Kuklinski versus Lauren. We got it. Finally, we finally had the final main event. Oh my God. Her McGurr.
And he had a heart attack. Because I had hypothermia, you know. When I bumped into him, I popped him with the needle.
What was in the needle?
In his case, a heart attack. He wanted this guy,
Really?
a heart attack.
That smirk that he has.
What was in the needle?
In his case, a heart attack.
He was waiting for that punchline. He was practicing that punchline too. I know he was practicing that. In his case, a heart attack. He had to have been reviewing
In his case, a heart attack.
He's been wanting to say that too because he was so proud in that moment saying that shit.
He wanted this guy taken care of. But he wanted to talk to him first. So when I got to the place, I asked the man for the money, so the guy says he didn't have it and Roy would just have to wait until he got the money to pay him. And that was that. He'd have to wait. So I said to the man, I said, well,
Like legit, Billy the Kid. Like, it's crazy to think that someone, I'm not saying that like there's a probability that someone possibly in a neighborhood somewhere it's like this guy. And it's crazy to think, like, I think they said, like, in your lifetime you run into, like, forgot how many. It's kind of scary. Like, they say on possibly how many serial killers you have an encounter with in your lifetime. And it's kind of scary to think. I forgot the number, but it's kind of scary. And then on top of that, it's like the amount of like registered like sex offenders that are out there too. Is just like crazy to think that like when you go to a store somewhere or like out driving somewhere and say that you're at say like you're in a like a somewhat bigger city. It's not like a full blown like huge city like New York or like LA or stuff like that, but like to give like a reference, like a St. Louis size city that's not very big or anything, but it's somewhat a big, I mean, it's not like crazy big like some of these other cities like Chicago and all of them, but like just to think like or like just like in the like cities outside of it, like in other counties outside of like St. Louis and stuff, and just thinking like possibly like the person like you're at a stoplight with or like you went to the store with and then like walking past like random people throughout the day. Probably ran into a serial. Probably walked past a serial killer, had an interaction with a serial killer, or on top of that, maybe walked by someone on the registered sex offenders list, or it like or happened to like glance at someone at like a light or somewhere. I don't fucking know, but like like it's kind of crazy to think like that. I mean, not just to know that like all these like people, like types of people are out there and stuff, and probably had some. I'm not saying like at a stoplight or something like that, but it's such a horrible, easy kitty interaction with, but yeah, but like at a store or something like that. Yeah, it's just like crazy to think like that. Like just to think like, oh my god, Harry McGarry. Fuck.
Well, you have to then talk to him. He wants to talk to you. So I dialed the phone number, and he got on the phone. And
I would have
said he wants to talk to
gone.
you. So he was talking to him, and I guess they were acting like everything was all right, because he got off the phone, he handed me the phone back. He says, "Hey, I told you he'd wait. He's in the better frame of mind. Don't worry about it. He wants to talk to you now." So I picked up the phone.
Their
and he
mom
said,
wants
"Kill
to
him."
talk to you now.
So I shot him.
Jesus Christ.
Hung up the phone and walked away. I am
I would have gone.
just a hard-working expediter of sorts. I
He's
look at
loose in his
myself as a
caboose.
person who did something that somebody wanted done, and they paid me a good price.
The Iceman had killed by gun, by knife, by Molotov cocktail, and cyanide. But he also liked to experiment.
Crossbow, I just popped a guy in the forehead with it.
See?
Actually, it was just
See, I told you. He just like
see in the forehead with it.
Experiment.
Crossbow, I just popped a
Excuse
guy
me,
in the
I'm
forehead
sorry.
with it. Actually, it was just seeing if it would work.
What was he doing at the time?
Looking at me?
Well, was he sitting down, or were you standing over him? Or?
No, he actually bent down to look in the car window like I was asking him directions. I didn't know the man.
no, I hate St. Louis. Tim Darling.
Was this a
Like I love the sports teams here and everything, but like there's just nothing exciting here in St. Louis at all.
contract murder, or
Yeah, the fans are awesome. Like it's so much fun to go to the any type of sporting events around here, but other than that, it's just like it's not. That's why I like being out in the country. It's just for me wise, I like it better, more isolated.
was it something out of anger, or was it a personal thing?
Neither.
I just don't like being on top of everyone.
What was it?
I like being away from people.
I just wanted to see if this thing would work.
You mean you're experimenting on somebody?
Right.
Did it work?
It sure did. Went halfway into his head.
The New Jersey Organized Crime Task Force concentrated on closing in on Kuklinski. When Kuklinski began to feel cornered, he started eliminating anyone who could implicate him in his criminal activities. If he called you friend, you had a problem. Yesterday's friend soon became tomorrow's enemy. One of those friends turned enemy was a man who had been Kuklinski's partner. His name was George Malaband.
Georgie boy. Yeah. I liked him. Actually, yeah, really liked him. One of the few people I ever really liked.
Be right back, guys.
But Malaband had developed some bad habits. He racked up thousands of dollars in gambling debts to loan sharks. Kuklinski had vouched for him and told Malaband he'd better pay up. Then Malaband made a fatal mistake. He told Kuklinski that if he didn't back off, he would hurt his family.
Which really struck a nerve with me. It upset me, but I was trying not to get upset with it at that time. Because I figured he was just nervous maybe and he was just spouting off, but apparently he wasn't.
But the Iceman couldn't forget that Malaband had threatened his family, and several weeks later he began to plan his murder.
We got in the van, and I asked George, you really sincere with the fact that you had hurt my family and to get back at me? And he said, that's the only way I could get you. I could get over on you, or get you to do what I wanted you to do, is to hurt your family. I said, but that's a stupid thing to say, George. I said, knowing how badly or how sincere I am about my family, I said, for you to say something like that, you must realize you're going to make me mad. He said, no, you won't be mad. He said, because you'd be afraid that something would happen to your family. I said, well, you're very wrong about that, George. I said, because I'm going to put a stop to that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put a stop to that right now. And I shot him 5 times.
Kuklinski's favorite way of disposing of bodies was putting them in barrels, but with a 6-foot, 300-pound George Malaband, it wasn't easy.
So when I got him in, I had a problem with one leg. I had a hell of a problem with a leg, I'll tell you. No matter what I did, I couldn't get that leg in there. So I had to cut it.
Oh, he got pissed off right there.
Get that leg in there.
That really frustrated him. You could tell that fucking frustrated him.
I'll tell you.
That fucking leg.
No matter what I did, I couldn't get that leg in there. So I had to cut it.
You want to talk about your brother, or?
What do you want to talk about? There's nothing to talk about.
Because we never brought up your brother in the first show.
Well, you want to talk about him? We'll talk about him. He's been here for 25, 7 years, something like that. He's been here a long time. 25 years, I think. Don't hold me to that exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty close.
And he's here for murder.
Yes.
What happened? How old was he when?
He was a young man. He was in his 20s, I believe.
And what went wrong in his case? Do you think he still was a product also of, what you went through?
We come from the same father.
Do you see him, Richard?
I pass him.
What do you say? Just hello and keep on walking?
How you doing, Joe? How you? Take care.
That's it?
Told you I have dual short stories. That's
the...
Told you I have dual short stories.
That's the scariest smile. That's the scariest smile right there, y'all.
That's being over friendly with my brother.
Does he try to talk to you?
He says less to me, as a matter of fact. Sometimes he doesn't even answer me, I don't think. Thinking about it.
Because he's scared of him. His brother is scared of Rich.
That's too bad.
Depends how you look at it.
But he also hates his brother too. On top of that, Richard. In a way.
Is there anything you wouldn't do, Richard, for a contract murder?
Yes.
What wouldn't you do?
I wouldn't kill the child. And most likely wouldn't kill a woman.
Did you ever let any...
That smirk. He was like, I will do it.
Did you ever let anyone go for whatever reason? Did you ever decide to let someone go?
Yes. But then I thought better of the idea and shot him anyway.
Did you ever murder anyone you liked?
All my friends did. At one point in time, I'm sure I liked them.
But not at the moment of killing them.
I might have even liked them then. Honor among thieves? There's no such thing. You see, because I was put in prison by a man I knew 30 years. And I liked him. Big mistake. I had one friend too many. I'm now serving multi-life sentences because of my one friend. And he's the only friend I didn't kill. Hoffa?
Yeah.
Here you go.
I don't know anything.
I told you.
Hoffa?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Hoffa. Jimmy Hoffa.
Or the scuttlebutt, let's put it that way.
Scuttlebutt in a Japanese car. Supposedly he was picked up, put in a drum, put in the trunk of a car, put in a crusher with other cars, crushed, and shipped overseas. That's what I heard. Don't know.
I think the last time I asked you that, you thought he was a Toyota.
Could be a Toyota. Some little Japanese car.
Did you think of yourself as an assassin?
Assassin. Sounds so exotic. I was just a murderer.
Hoffa. See, I told you. I don't have an opinion about it. I don't. Who knows what happened to Jimmy Hoffa? I don't think we'll ever know what happened to Jimmy Hoffa. But what? This guy might. He laid the claim to say he's the one that put Hoffa down. I don't know. Who knows? I don't think they've ever really had any run-ins, Hoffa and Kuklinski, but he claims he doesn't claim Hoffa, but like how y'all just heard about what happened to Hoffa. He might have been involved with it, but I don't know. It's hard to say.
If I understand you correctly, you're positive you killed...
This psychiatrist. I've heard this interview, and I mean, I've seen this interview, and this psychiatrist gets our boy here at one point. He even tells him, he got me to like he brings out the worst of this guy here at some point.
More than 50 people. And you
Definitely.
think you probably killed more than 100 people.
Definitely.
Sure of that one.
Definitely.
But not sure it's more than 200.
I wouldn't say definitely.
See that silence? I
Believe that.
Maybe yes, maybe no.
I would say
think he's one of those exaggerating type killers. So it's hard to say how many people he's claimed. I unfortunately I do want to say it's probably is. You're close to 100.
less than 200 people.
Well, you tell me.
It's not less than 200 people.
You killed more than 200 people.
Sure. Yep. I killed basically 100 people when I was a young man. Before I even knew anybody. Too much.
I want to say he's I want to say he's exaggerating.
One part of my life, I killed people for nothing. Just for somebody to look at me wrong, I would kill them. Stab them, shoot them.
You tended to shoot people up close and personal.
Definitely. I wanted to tell them just before they left. I wanted to say goodbye.
Did you like to look them in the eye?
I wanted them looking straight at me. This was a long way away. The distance we are now. We were closer.
What did you want them to think as they died?
Just see my pretty face. I take it to them. But the last thing they ever saw was me.
Jesus Christ.
And if they carry that glimpse to eternity, infinity, or whatever it is, they're gonna be thinking of me all that time. I'd be looking in their eyes. I would see the blankness come over it. I'd watch them die. I just didn't shoot them and walk away. I saw the surprise, the shock, the blank. They go.
He loved that shit.
Shoot them and walk away. I saw the surprise, the shock, the blank. They're gone. And all I saw was my reflection. But that's it.
Did you have a favorite place you'd like to shoot?
A favorite?
Yeah.
Well, most of the time, if you're up close, you shoot them under the chin. You would shoot him. Shot a guy one time in his Adam's apple. See how long it would take him to die.
How long did it take?
A few minutes. He drowned, actually. He didn't.
Drowned in his blood?
Mm-hmm. I was with somebody else. We had a $50 bet. I lost. I took a guy down one time, just following him around. He was with a few people. As they went to the bar, this person decided he couldn't wait to get inside to urinate. He never did. Everybody else went in. He stayed outside to urinate. He urinated. He went comfortably anyway. He had an empty bladder. But I actually strangled him.
From behind, I assume.
Definitely. I actually did it in a way that's maybe this is original, and maybe not. I don't know. But I put the rope around his neck, twisted it, and threw him over my shoulder, and held him there. So actually, I was the tree hanging him.
Yeah.
And he eventually just stopped kicking. And I let it loose at one end. He slid down to the ground. I put him over by the garbage and left.
Had you brought a length of rope with you?
No, actually, this guy, these people had around and back at a bar. They must have lived upstairs. There was an apartment upstairs, and they had one of these things where they had rope across this thing, and they had a couple of these lines going across this way. And that's what I took.
Talking about clothesline?
Yeah.
Now, what had this guy done to you?
I didn't like him. He just made me mad for some reason or other. For me to track him and wait for him, I was mad at him for something.
Do you remember what his body did while you were hanging him?
Yeah, I was twitching and kicking.
How long did it take?
I don't really know. Didn't look at my watch, so I really couldn't say. You know, I kept him a while. Even after he stopped, I kept him a while just to make sure.
Did you have another weapon with you?
Yes.
But this was
Wait,
quieter.
right back.
It was more personal. I actually felt him die.
Did you like that?
Didn't do anything. But I mean, I did feel him die. I felt him go limp.
And you got your relief?
Yes. Basically, I didn't have any more pressure, no more tension. It was almost like a cure-all. Unbelievable.
What's the worst beating you ever took from your old man?
I don't think there's much difference in any of them. They were all pretty bad. He left his mark on me, pretty much.
And he did most of that before you were, what, 11?
Yes, I was young.
And was that worse when he was drinking?
With Stanley, it didn't really matter whether he was drinking or he wasn't drinking. He was a nasty son of a bitch, and he always will be till the day he died. And even when he died, he was a nasty son of a gun.
Did you go to his funeral?
No, I didn't.
Was there one?
Yes. I didn't like him in life. Why would I want to go see him in death? I was glad he was dead.
How about your mom? How was she?
Over the years, I got to dislike my mother a great deal. But now that I have more time to think about it, she was just a victim of her own life.
As a kid, how did you see her?
Hateful. Disliked her a great deal. She didn't believe in sparing a rod either. I mean, she used to hit me with a broomstick if I did something wrong.
Where would she hit you?
Whoever it hit. They gave me a picture of him and a description of what he does and what he generally does and where he goes, places he goes. And so I went to the area where they said he might be, and I saw somebody who looked like him, similar to him. He had a knack for smoking, and they told me he smoked big cigars, Churchill cigars or something. So I pulled up alongside of him. At the time, I was riding a motorcycle. And I just said, Cuban? Are they Cuban? Looks like a good cigar. And he wasn't a happy camper, because he said, fuck you. And when he said, fuck you, he looked my way, and I got a clear shot of his face. It was a picture I had of the man they wanted, and I said, nah, don't fuck me, fuck you. And I just took this weapon out and blew his head off. It just disintegrated his, like you see a pumpkin get hit with a shotgun or something, they just spread out. And that's what happened. And light turned green about the time I shot him, and I left.
You would have gone.
I was driving in Georgia
You would have gone.
one time. And we were riding down the road, and there was a couple of vans running around, and they were hooping and hollering there. I guess they were having a good old time and maybe drinking.
Thanks a lot.
They decided, I guess it was interesting to play with a guy from New Jersey, and they started to click-clack and with their vans and push me here and push me there off the road, and they were running in and out, and what their problem was, I really don't know. Never did know. But it came to a point where I got extremely mad about that, and but it was silly of me because I was away from home. I had no backing. I had no problem. I only had one weapon, which was in the trunk, which was a .357 with a hair trigger. So I stopped the car and got out, opened the trunk. I had the release in the, went in the trunk and took the .357 and just stood there. Now, apparently their eyesight mustn't be too good because I don't think I'd walk up on a guy with a .357 standing by his side. But these fellas did.
I mean, he does have a point. Why would you walk up to a guy with a .357 standing by, like, literally on his side?
But these... Now, apparently their eyesight mustn't be too good because I don't think I'd walk up on a guy with a .357 standing by his side.
It's like 6'4" and 300 pounds with a .357 on his side.
But these fellas did. Foolish mistake. They all died. And I didn't even know them.
How many?
There was a few of them. I reloaded.
Killed every last one of them.
Yeah. And that wasn't even one I wanted to do.
Just don't piss. I guess just don't piss the Iceman off. Don't have a road rage incident with the Iceman, or that's what happens. Oh God, he takes road rage to the extreme.
Do you think that what they did was a capital offense?
What they did? You mean playing with me?
Yeah.
Well, they could have killed me. Well, they ran me off the road and I died.
Bad behavior, no argument. Reckless endangerment. Reckless driving, host of bad things. Is it a capital offense they committed against you?
Apparently. I did kill him. So to me, it must have been. Because when I had come to that point, and that point, that is the last point they come to. I don't back off once I go forward. Once I go forward and I take a gun, I do not back off. I didn't know how many they had. I didn't know what they had. They could have had guns. They could have had anything. They wanted to play with me. I didn't want to play. So, we didn't play no more. And I would have taken whatever came.
Your discretion is advised. I didn't realize that they might have been showing crime scenes. Possibly from his crime scenes.
You almost made me mad.
See? There it is. See, I told you. At some point. Sorry. I didn't mean to rewind it to this, but like I said, he got pissy.
And I would have taken whatever came. You almost made me mad.
I know. What made you mad about that?
I don't know, but you almost did.
Can you figure out what it is?
No.
Try to look at it. Look at what made you mad there.
I don't know. I think it must have been something you said.
Yeah.
Obviously, but I don't know what it was.
Could it be that I was challenging you and it sounded judgmental?
Could be. Yeah, it could be. Because you've got me annoyed with you now.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
How mad are you?
Not bad. Pretty. I feel a little flushed. So that means that I've reached a point in my life that I'm a little annoyed.
What would you like to do?
Doesn't matter. I don't think it's gone to the point that I'm actually gonna do anything stupid. Just curious to myself why it happened. I don't know why it happened. I'm actually almost glad it did happen because you had a chance to see something, but I don't know why it happened.
Did you feel I was criticizing you?
Yes,
Is that what did it?
I think so. I
'Cause
think that's the part that did it.
who used to criticize you the most?
Of course, my father.
Yeah. Most people, when they see horrible things, if they see somebody badly injured, certainly see something that awful, have a visceral reaction. They feel nauseated. They may want to vomit. It makes them very uncomfortable all over real fast. Did you get anything?
No, it's a good thing I didn't have to vomit because then I would have had real problems on that motorcycle. Not to care is much better.
Because it's a weakness to care.
That's right, it is. Then you have baggage. When you care, you can't just move. You have to worry.
And you got something to lose.
That's right.
Dismembering bodies, did that turn your stomach?
I don't think so. I remember having pizza one day while we were doing something like that.
Pizza in one hand, chainsaw in the other?
No. I didn't like chainsaws. That's another fable that they've come up with, that I use chainsaws. See, chainsaws are messy.
Yep.
All you get is all over me I have these little pieces of meat. Now that's a pain in the neck if I use chainsaws. Now would I want to ruin a good shirt with a chainsaw? That would be downright stupid. And I definitely have the wrong. I don't think I could walk around with bits of meat hanging off me or bits and pieces of somebody's body hanging off me. I would probably smell a little bit bad also at that point.
So what's a better way to dismember
Just
a
a
body?
knife. A butcher knife, you cut it around the bone and a little slice here, a little slice there, and wrap it, ship it.
Do you understand that most people can't imagine doing that to a human?
Sure. I can understand that a great deal. I can't understand why I can. The smell sometimes was annoying, but I would put cologne on. I would generally put cologne across here, so I could smell the cologne a lot better than I could smell anything else. Canoe or something like that was always nice.
Now you're dating yourself with that.
But it was still nice.
What else would you use for the smell?
Spray, any deodorizers, spray, put it in the air, try to kill the smell. But the deodorizers actually were worse than the smell, because when they mingled, for somehow or other, they gave off a more distasteful smell. So what I would take is the bottle of Canoe and just throw it all over the walls and the floor and everything. And I'd have a $25 nice smell in the room. It was an expensive deodorant, but it worked. I used to have a thing where I would take somebody into a cavern or cave.
He was doing that aquadigio, probably.
It was an expensive deodorant, but it worked. I used to have a thing where I would take somebody into a cavern or cave, whatever you want to call it, and I would tie them up or tape them, their hands and their feet together, and
All right, y'all. I'm gonna call it a night. So yeah. It sounded like butthead there for a second. Yeah. Anyways. Excuse me. Yeah, like I said, this was an unexpected stream. Jesus Christ, I'm drunk. Anyways, love you guys. I'm going to bed. Hit that like and subscribe button too. God damn it, people. Love you guys. Oh yeah. Come out to my Wednesday night stream. I'm doing a special 300 subscriber stream, and I'm gonna try to do like a all-nighter type situation to where I'm streaming till like Thursday afternoon, and then just pass the fuck out. Then go to bed for a little bit, and then go to Dacon's the cons stream Thursday night and join him with one of those weirdos. So y'all should come out on Thursday and Wednesday night to come out big and heavy. So yeah. Anyways, like I said, have a happy Easter too, y'all. So other than that, I'm going to bed. Bye.